here's how they line up for the finale. Mike Stoner starts on reverse grid pole. Sean Bennett once again starts from the front row of the grid. Then comes Alex Jonesma and Danny Henney after that misdemeanor in the previous race. Nick Alexander and Alexander Dobbelsberger on the third row of the grid. Then comes Andrew Sexton and Luke Power. Gregoire Gomez, championship leader by 7 points, starts from 9th. Then Frick Smith in the top 10. Sam Harper, Alexandra Maravkani, Spanners Ready in 13th. Then comes Richard Molden and James Gill. Daniel Snorterland, those two fighting for the silver class title. Don't forget they're separated by only 6 points going into the last race. Kyle Power, he sits second in the championship, down in 17th, ahead of Stephen Williams, Lucas Raskovitz and Mark Greenhow in the top 20, and Jose O'Donnell starting in 21st in the gold class standings as well. We're underway now for the finale. Very nice start made by our pole sitter Mike Stoner, and unsurprisingly Danny Henney immediately trying to charge through the order and get himself up towards the front of the field as Stoner runs out a little bit wide and Henney has to fight his way through a little bit.
That's Power off in the back
of the field involving Kyle Power. That could be the championship over for Power at the opening stage of this final race, because Gomez has gotten away clearly and Power needed to be taking points away from Gomez in this one. Now up at the front of the field, Jonesma and Henney trying to take the lead of the race. But here's what happened. We see Power there on the inside. And did he get tagged there from the car behind? Or did he just drop it himself? There was a car steaming in.
Someone did a Grosjean in the livery of Grosjean as well, by the looks of things. They were flying and unfortunately took out the only person we really didn't want that to happen to. That is such a shame. It looks like he just tripped up over himself. He tried to do everything he could to get out of the way, but it was just unfortunate, and that has taken Power out of contention. So back to the front.
Wow. You could not make it up. There is always drama in a missed Apex iRacing finale. In the meantime, Alex Jonesma has taken the lead of the race with Danny Henney in second place. Mike Stoner, our pole sitter, dropped down to third place. The magician by trade, but there was nothing magic about that opening lap there for Stoner, as he's got Dobbelsberger on his tail and Luke Power as well. Sean Bennett from the front row of the grid. Oh dear, I think I've just commentator cursed Mike Stoner even more, because he's tumbling down my timing order now. Looks like he's dropped it at Stavelo. So there was a certain flair missing from that particular act. Here it is. Oh, dropped it under braking. Such a shame for him.
Yeah, he just lost it on entry. Wasn't there any curbs? I think he might have had too much rear brake bias as we watched Danny Henney just honing in on Alex Jonesma for the lead. And behind them, Luke Power defending ferociously from Dobbelsberger, Bennett and Sexton there for that fourth and third place.
Yeah, so what's happened here is we've actually got 4 of our regular front-running contenders up at the front of the field now, with Jonesma, Henney, Power and Dobbelsberger in the top 4 at the end of the first lap. Sean Bennett in 5th place. Gregoire Gomez, the championship leader, championship elect now, there in 6th place. All he's got to do is bring it home. At Sexton in 7th, Molden, Nick Alexander and James Gill. Still Gill and Snorterland are separated by nothing, but for the lead of the race, here comes Danny Henney, side by side now with Alex Jonesma. Nothing Jonesma can do about that slipstream, just too powerful there, and Henney takes the lead of the race on lap number 2.
Absolutely breezed past. You might think that might have been DRS assisted on lap 2. Henney maybe just trying to get some clear air between him and the rest of the field. These two are away from everybody else, but he's going to try and put some legs on during the middle sector here. You can see him absolutely throwing it through there and into No Name Corner, with Drillsman trying to do the same, throwing it off the circuit almost. And you can see the gap that they've built up over Power behind.
Yeah, in 9th place and 10th place, the battle for the Silver Class Championship is going on. James Gill leads Daniel Snorterland once again. Gill leads Snorterland by 6 points in the Silver Class standings. If it were to finish like this, Gill would be the Silver Class champion. The youngster who started racing with us this year and certainly arrived with a bang, mixing it up amongst the front runners in the sprint races, and certainly not taking anything from the front runners that we normally see in this field. He certainly showed where he stands amongst them in those sprint races by getting his elbows out in the early stages. But there we see the Apex Tech car leading the blue and white car. That is the car that would win the Silver Championship if he finishes ahead of Snorterland. In fact, Absolutely. He can afford to let Snorterland go for a couple of places as well.
Yeah, so he has to finish 3 places ahead for him to draw level on points. And that is Snorterland out of the race there, being fired over the back of one of the cars into the wall. That is that championship done as well.
Yeah, Dronsma from second place dropped it on the chicane, and Snortland, unbelievable. So, well, I was going to say that was the closest of our 3 championships. So it was Dronsma who spun from second, and Snortland just didn't have anywhere to go there, and that has basically given the silver class championship to James Gill on a silver platter, so to speak. And
very good. He was just unsighted behind all the other cars though, Chris, wasn't he? You could see the whole train went left and he was just left there. He was the only one who tried to go right because he just saw it just that little bit too late. Such a shame there. That was building up to be a wonderful battle. And of course for the lead now, Henny is all in a class of his own.
Yeah, 3.3 ahead of Luke Power there, and Alexander Dobbetsberger just behind them. Gregoire Gomez is in 5th place, looking at the back of Sean Bennett meanwhile, and got a run here out of Speaker's Corner, and on the inside of Pouon, that is now 4th place for Greg Gomez, the champion-elect. The only thing that could stop him now is if some major drama befalling his car. And actually, do you remember, I think it was the first race Greg did with us, or maybe it was the start of his 2nd season, but we were racing at Hockenheim in the F3s. It was his first race of the season. Greg absolutely dominating the race, and then his PC failed and logged him out, and was an easy win lost there. And that kind of summed up the season that Greg would end up having, that particular campaign. But it's all coming together for him at the moment, and that's really the only thing that could deny him at the moment. He's up in 4th. Kyle Power, after that lap 1 calamity, all the way down in 22nd place at the moment.
Yeah, not to break the 4th wall, I'm going to call it an engine failure or a power unit failure. There we go. So, yeah, but as you say, it is all to play for still, because Gomez is absolutely just chucking his car around. You can see him kicking up the dust, kicking up the grass there, really not hanging back at all. I wonder if he doesn't even know that Kyle Power has gone out behind him, because it must be quite hard, to know in the car what's going on, as we watch Gill here lining up a move on Malden, our race director here. And it must be very difficult for them to know where the other drivers are on track. So he's absolutely still just going for it in 4th place. He's got to be careful not to chuck it off the circuit all by himself, which he has done before.
Well, exactly. In the race just gone, he made an unforced error in Eau Rouge, and that's the reason we ended up with a close permutations going into this last race in the first place. We're coming up to half race distance now, as big moment there for Malden. And a free place gained for James Gill. He's up into 7th place now, and Steve Williams takes advantage of that as well, moves himself up into 8th place. Ahead of Malden there. Might have to give himself a calm down warning if he carries on like that. But we're halfway through this last race, and it's certainly looking a bit more settled in terms of our 3 championships, with the overall going to Greg Gomez. The gold very much in favour of Jose O'Donnell. He was 22 points ahead of Lucas Raskovitz still going into this final race, and he's ahead of him on track at the moment. And after that moment for Daniel Snortland with Dronsma, that has given the title provisionally to James Gill. But we'll see what happens in these remaining few laps of the season, as we've got Spanners involved in a battle here at 12th place. Got Tim Ellis for close company. These two are old sparring partners. They've battled on the come-up track, on the virtual track. Anytime you'll find these two in a session together, it's usually pretty close together. As Ellis looks towards the inside, big braking manoeuvre there. Got to get it stopped, because he nearly went into the side of Nick Alexander there. That was a big, bold braking manoeuvre from the number 4 machine.
That was so close. If he just snatched a brake, snatched the inside, maybe unloaded it a little bit, trying to avoid an incident, he would have just piled straight into the back of him. So that was expert braking there, exactly to the apex. And actually, he's on all over the back of Nick Alexander coming up towards Eau Rouge. Brave man to go around the outside there, so he just tucks in behind Chris, and he's got the slipstream already pulling alongside as they come up the hill.
Yeah, perfect timing. But look at Spanners trying to show his nose there on the outside of Kemmel as well, but has to back out of it in the end. Looking towards the inside, it'll be a brave move on the brakes. Oh, he's brave, all right, but Ellis sees it coming and leaves him enough space and holds the position around the outside. Ellis hangs on to 11th.
Now we've got to see if he can scamper far enough away to get Spanners out of that slipstreaming zone. I'm not sure he can do it. in this one lap. So watching out for spanners coming back at him towards the end of the lap if he can keep it nice and clean in that dirty air behind.
Through on once again. Fantastic flick of the left-hander there, is especially in these cars. As Nick Alexander looks to try and get himself past spanners for 12th place. But Alexandros Murafikani for close company as well in that anime car, which is very easy to spot.
Let's let Ellis go, but yeah, this is such a tight little battle here with Murafikani just behind Alexander. Is he going to have a last second lunge as they're both closing in on spanners ahead? You can just see that gap decreasing ever so slightly. Coming up to the bus stop chicane.
Oh, sorry, I think we're about to see it. James Gill, Silver Class champion-elect, has had his own drama. There he is at the bus stop chicane, a tangle with Stephen Williams as they were trying to get around Andrew Sexton. So here it is. He's trying to get around Sexton and just clipped. I think Williams wasn't expecting Gill to be so slow at the apex there. And now, oh, look at that. Williams is beached.
Williams is beached. He is, yeah.
Gill's been able to get going.
He's got no traction there at all. That could be Williams out of the race.
Yeah, it could be as well, and he's been on the podium twice already today, and I'm sure he would have fancied another one. So the question is, where now is James Gill in relation to Daniel Snortelen? Gill's in 15th place, we can see just at the back of that shot, I think. Yes, there's James Gill. Daniel Snortelen's in 20th place, just making his way through Eau Rouge now, so the title would still go to James Gill.
Oh, and there's someone is that Kyle Power who spun off at the top of the hill? I think it might have been he. I saw him trying to recover.
Still going for me.
I thought I saw a flash of green in the background. Never mind. But yeah, as you say, Gill does have to finish about. He certainly wants to finish ahead of him, but Snortelen has to finish 3 places ahead of Gill for him to be level on points, and 4 places if he wants to take it outright. So I think it is still looking good for Gill at the moment.
Yep, certainly is. Still the champion in waiting in that class. There's our Jose O'Donnell and Gregoire Gomez. And only 3 laps remain after this one in this Formula Renault 3.5 season. So we'll see Mark Greenhalgh, the sprint race 1 winner, here in 14th place, trying to get up on the inside of Ivan Anderson through Blanchimont. Very brave indeed. And, well, Anderson just lets him go in the end into the bus stop chicane, and that's Greenhalgh up into 13th place. And still a little complaint there from the back end as they exit that chicane. And Malden here, one of our race admins, somebody we definitely could not be doing this championship without. The fact that he races in it as well absolutely baffles me. But here he is going for 5th place on Sean Bennett. It's a gold driver versus a silver driver, but for overall position, and nice out-dragging manoeuvre here from Richard Malden. And swapping places as well as Sam Harper moves up the order. Actually, I think there might even be some back markers involved in there as well, because yes, it is. Sam Harper moving ahead of Tim Ellis there as well. So Malden up to 5th, Harper up to 7th.
It wasn't that long ago that we were talking about Sam Harper being one of the champion contenders a few seasons ago. So it's good to see him back towards the sharp end of the grid again. And yeah, Harper and Ellis both very rapid drivers there, so it's good to see them battling. And as I say, Harper are now up to 7th place. Let's see if he can get Bennett and Malden within the last couple of laps.
Yeah, so that was very much back in the early days of mixed Apex iRacing, the Formula Renault 2-litre days, and he was battling David Hatton for that particular championship, and this was before Danny Henney arrived on the scene and started dominating everything that he entered.
Apart from this year, of course,
he did do a partial campaign.
Yeah, so Danny Henney, you see him obviously leading the race, and that you could be excused if you hadn't seen the other events this evening to think that it is status quo, but this is anything but Danny Henney, who is going to have not won a couple on the bounce now, Chris. So you say he's dominating, maybe on pace, but actually, in terms of championship victories, it is going to go to Gregoire Gomez.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, actually, on pace, just on the fastest lap of the race, there's Gomez, 59.769. So 7/10 of a second quicker than our race leader on that previous lap. And is closing in on Alexander Dobbelsberger here for a place on the podium. Now, no risks here, Greg, but this doesn't look like it's going to be a risky one as he pulls to the outside and will probably out-drag the Ace of Spades car by the time they get into Les Combes. Well, it's going to have to get done on the brakes, but Dobbelsberger just lets him go and realizes that's not his fight today. And so it looks like Gomez is going to seal this championship with a podium finish with less than 2 laps to go now. Gomez is on his way to his first championship. We've had a few different champions along the way. Of course, the first season, well, all the way back in the MX5 Challenge days, Steve Ficacci coming out on top. In that one, we alluded to the Sam Harper battle with David Hatton. He was our Season 2 champion in Formula Renault Challenge. Then the Danny Henny era began. He won the second season of Formula Renault Challenge and the first 2 seasons of the F3 Cup as well. Last season, it was a nail-biting finale between Danny and Kyle Power. Power came out on top, and Power's taking it down to the last race once again in this one. But this year, he will not come out on top as Greg Gomez has just been a force to be reckoned with this season. 5 wins to his name, 2 feature race wins, 3 sprint race wins as well. In fact, with this win, Danny Henny will equal that with 3 feature race wins and 2 sprints. So 1 more feature than Greg, actually. But in terms of the overall season, Greg's just been the one scoring the points across the board. Probably that last race, actually, where he won the feature race and indeed the second sprint race, where he really stole the march and put himself in a great position for the championship as we're now on the last lap. Danny Henny leads by 2.5 seconds to Luke Power. Greg Gomez in third, on his way to the checkered flag. Oh no! Alexander Dobbelsberger one lap away from a 4th place finish, throwing it away there at Radion and spinning into the barriers. What a shame for Dobbelsberger.
That is a big
again, just loses it.
Yeah, a big one just at the top of the hill, and that is such a shame. It's such a bump at the top of the hill there. But don't forget, if Gomez does something similar, he has to be so careful because Carl Power is in 21st place, so he would be getting 10 points at the end of this race. So if Gomez does somehow make a mistake, Kyle would still take the title, so he does have to bring it home, Chris.
Dobbelsberger's dragging this one across the line. No back end on that car at all, but he's going to track this one to the finish line. I can see on my other monitor, he's still going to the checkered flag. Fair play to him. Across the 2 other titles as well, we saw that James Gill had a drama, but he's in 13th place. He'll take the silver championship. And Jose O'Donnell has actually lost out to Raskovitz on track in 17th and 18th, but he will, O'Donnell will still take the gold class championship. Meanwhile, race leader Danny Henny makes his way towards the bus stop chicane for the final time, and well, wins at Spa are like buses. You wait 3 seasons for them and 2 come along at once. For the second time tonight, Danny Henny exits that final chicane and takes the victory. He ends the season on a high with victory in the final race of the season. Luke Power in second, but in third place, Gregoire Gomez is the missed Apex iRacing Formula Renault 3.5 champion.
How does it feel, Greg? Join us in the commentary box on your championship victory, wearing number 1 next season. How does it feel?
It's great. I'm super happy. I only realized midway through, I think, that Kyle had an incident, so that took a little weight off my back. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been this nervous. Every single corner where I know I could crash, I was sweating bullets.
You were right to be nervous because Kyle finished in 21st place, so if you had managed to put it in the wall, he would have taken the title from you. So we did see you taking that 3rd place, and it did look a little bit close there. So just tell us, how are you going to be celebrating?
Probably with some sleep, but then after that, just really happy weekend, I guess.
Well, actually, Greg, for the first time, we're announced to say, I don't know if you saw, we've got trophies for the first time. So you're going to be getting a trophy.
I heard.
Well, don't sound too excited about it, Greg. This is.
Sorry, I muted myself by accident. I
heard.
No,
you've always been like the calmest person amongst the whole field. Really, I think it's one of the reasons you've been able to do so well this season.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm looking forward to the trophy, and I'll be really happy tonight.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, man. You are the Missed Apex iRacing Formula Renault 3.5 champion.
Here.
Cool. Right, we've kept Jose waiting long enough there. Thanks for waiting. Jose, you're the gold class champion.
Yes, I don't know how, because this was a terrible round. I was doing so good on the second race. I almost got P1, and then terrible things happened. I finished P21. Started the race, the third race. I was taken out in the first corner. So. But, well, I wasn't very fast. I wasn't the fastest, but I was clean during the first 5 rounds. So, well, I managed to win. Very, very happy.
Good, top man. So obviously moving up to platinum next year, if the trend follows along.
Yes, that's going to be terrible. Well, I'll try to survive.
Fair enough, Jose. Well, in the meantime, congratulations, gold class champion.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And hopefully we're also joined by James Gill, who is our... Oh, no, we're not. He's taking himself out as well.
Let me get him back in here.
There was a fantastic battle there for the silver title between James Gill and Daniel Snortland, and Gill comes out on top. James, how does it feel to be the champion?
Oh, hopefully, hang on. Can you hear us, James? Oh, he might be camera shy. Bless him. Well, we'll forget about the silver class championship interview there. But see, donuts being done across the grid and on the pit entry, and that marks the end of the season. So let's look over the results for the final race of the season. Danny Henny ends the season on a high with victory in the sprint race. Luke Power, another podium there in second place. Gregoire Gomez is your champion in the Missed Apex iRacing Formula Renault 3.5 Championship with a third place finish. Sean Bennett hanging on to fourth place in the end there. Very nicely done by him, with Richard Malden and Sam Harper up there as well, with Tim Ellis, Andrew Sexton, Alex Dobbsberger and Spanners completing the top 10. James Gill in 11th place, silver class champion in the end there. And then Mark Greenhill, Nick Alexander, Ivan Anderson, Daniel Snorterland just missing out on the silver class title, and Lucas Raskovitz missing out on the gold class title as well, because Jose O'Donnell there in 18th place wraps up the gold class championship as well. Penny for the thoughts of Kyle Power, who brought it across the line in 21st place, taken out at the first corner, didn't get a chance to fight for the title. But hopefully next season, we'll see them fighting again. So that, wow, that wraps up another season of Missed Apex iRacing. My never-ending thanks to Chris Catman Turner for joining me in the commentary box, even if it was just for the one race this season, but to all the admins, to Richard Malden, to Sam Watley, everybody helps us put on this fantastic championship. And of course, to our wonderful video producer, Steve Amy, bringing you the beautiful pictures on these race streams. We'll see you for another season in 2024.